Hello, world. Hello, folks out there. You are watching or listening to another episode of the Game and Watch Podcast, episode 106. I'm your boy, Justin Reed, aka Too Tall for You Fool. I am joined once again by my main man, F Man, OVG, View Gaming himself, Finest Dabs,
Living the life. What's up, peeps?
and Max Hines from the Loading Bar Podcast is back with us again. How you doing, Max?
Doing pretty good, everybody. Coffee this late at night. I'm hip.
Yes, for sure. Coffee. I heard that. Once again, thank you for watching or listening to the Game and Watch podcast. For those of you watching or listening, just a reminder, it is a RV Gaming or OVG production. We're available on all platforms wherever you listen to your podcast, or for your viewing pleasure, wherever you stream your podcast, Twitch, YouTube, etc. That whole thing, even Twitter in some cases. So for the most part, links to uh, to our social media handles
Someone needs coffee. Here we go.
and show notes will be and links to the articles will be in the show notes. Excuse me. If you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, Game and Watch Podcast at gmail.com. We'll read your emails on air. And if you're watching us live, we have a little segment at the end of the show called Chat Room Comments, where we'll read the best comments on air and all that good stuff. And then lastly, we have a Patreon. If you want to donate to our Patreon, it will make a better show for all of us including the host and you, the listener or viewer. All right, so with all that out of the way, it sounds like I do need some coffee, but I'm good though. How y'all doing this week? How's it been? Max, we can start with you.
Yeah, sure. It's been pretty good. Very busy. Library work is never a dull moment, and playing a lot of Cyberpunk, also never a dull moment. What else? Right. Newest episode. It's been like a long time, I know. Bear with me, but Xbox 360 and the history of the mojito. And come take a listen and see how Sir Francis Drake helped influence one of the best cocktails known to man. And hopefully everybody enjoys it.
All right.
Nice.
Nice. How you been, F? How's your week been? Your hectic work week where you play video games at work? No, I'm just kidding. But
No, it's been a little bit crazy. I had an anxiety attack a couple weeks ago at work.
No.
I'm
So
sorry
I
to hear
mean,
that.
at home is where I work, so it was at home. So I was luckily in that environment. But hopefully, some things about work and at work are changing. So I've been able to just kick back, chill with video games, kind of take my mind off of work and all that stress. But yeah, no, things have been good. Let's see. Other than that, my son flipped over today at 3 months by
Ooh.
himself.
Oh,
So
I thought you
no,
meant
flip.
your older son flipped.
No, no,
Or,
no,
oh,
no, no. My 3-month-year-old flipped over on his own from his back to his stomach. So that was a celebratory moment. We also went to a pumpkin patch
oh.
today, which was pretty nice. And other than that, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be talking about games with you guys.
Yeah, all right. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Before I forget, happy wedding anniversary to you.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, there's that. You guys, dang, you guys put all my business out there. No, I just want. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. You guys remember this stuff better than I do, so now I gotta go actually leave the podcast and go tell my wife happy wedding anniversary. Thanks.
If it makes you feel any better, mine is in 2 days. But for me, I mean, I haven't really been playing too many games. I've been on a retro kick. I've been playing Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, and been playing Turtles here and there. It's been kind of a hectic week for the most part. My daughter's birthday was last week, so we celebrated her party yesterday. So that was fun. She turned 7, and also before I continue, and I think I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't address this. We lost a great entertainer last week. That man in the back right there, Coolio, man, rest in peace. Gangsta's Paradise. And you know what? The reason I have it hanging there, just a little story for you guys. It's the first music album I ever bought um, on I brought on cassette. So kind of it kind of hit close to home to me. I grew up with him and all that good stuff. So
You grew up with Coolio?
well, grew up on
I
him.
thought.
Keenan and Kel. Keenan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought I thought you had a secret best friend, and like you never let me meet him.
Yeah, well, no, so yeah, R.I.P. Coolio, and like I said, I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't say anything. You see him every episode on on my camera, and then speaking of which, I do want to get into a trivia. He was in a video game actually. So he was in the Super Nintendo game Rap Jam Volume One. It's a basketball game, and it's not a very good one, by the way. It's actually kind of worse than that Michael Jordan basketball game, that Windy City one or whatever. But yeah, yeah, it's a pretty bad game. But there were some other rap acts in this game. Coolio was one of them. There were 7 others. You guys care to take a stab at who may have been in this game? Out of curiosity, just
I'll give it a go.
yeah, okay.
So
Don't,
I'm
don't,
gonna say the Wu-Tang Clan because they dipped their toes in a few video games
all right, good guess.
in the
Good
past.
guess. I mean, like I said, 7 others, so you can choose some more. Just
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm
finance, you got
sorry.
anything?
What was the question?
Coolio was in a video game,
Okay.
Rap Jam Volume One. I
Hmm.
mean,
Hmm.
so it's a basketball game for the most part. There were 7 other rap acts, solo artists, and groups in the game. You care to take a guess at the 7 others?
The
There,
7 others? Oh
well, I mean,
gosh.
not all of them. Just try to name at least one.
Okay, let's.
It was the
Two.
mid '90s, so just
I was
kind
gonna
of
just. I'm just gonna Tupac. I just.
okay.
Yeah, not happening. No. Okay.
You actually got any more? Or are you good?
Uh, this is a stab, but it's like the first thing that popped into my head. Bismarcky.
Okay.
Probably
Okay.
not.
Okay. There were good guesses. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. House of Pain.
Okay,
That
Mhm.
makes
was
sense. Yep.
LL Cool J.
Yep, makes sense. Yep.
Naughty by Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Onyx. Public Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Queen Latifah.
Mm-hmm.
Warren G. And Yo Yo.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
So
feel like we
yeah.
disappointed you.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. I mean, I just figured, just
He
a
didn't
little
say
trivia.
no. He
Music.
said it's all good.
It's
Okay,
all
well,
good.
yeah. I'm a video. I could talk about video games all day. Yeah, you asked me about music. Nah, I'm
Well,
not gonna do that.
it's all good. All right. So let's get into our first story today, and let's start with something else from the '90s. It's a Sega Genesis. It is now playable on the Analog Pocket along with the NES. This Analog Pocket just keeps getting better and better and better and better, but unlike the Steam Deck, you have to wait longer for it. Like people are still waiting for their Analog Pockets, and they are more expensive too. You're better off going, to like eBay and trying to get it. You'll probably get it a lot sooner rather than later. But
Hmm.
you can now play Genesis games on your analog pocket thanks to the community out there and NES games. So this is, kind of not a surprise, but with the latest firmware update, developers have been adding cores to this thing, and they've been giving it a go, and it's pretty much NES, SNES, Sega Genesis, and probably a lot more coming to this thing for the most part with the analog pocket and retro gaming. Does this make you want to get an analog pocket even more,
Who are you talking to?
Finest?
Um, no, not really. Once I just these games can be played so many places. Retro games, I mean Super Nintendo, Genesis games are just there's so many places. Yeah, I don't know. nostalgia is great and everything, and if you have the device already, yeah, this is a great added feature on top of everything else. But like, is this a draw? Like, is this enough to pull me in and make me want this device, and want to like go buy, I don't know, I forget how much was it, 329, so
Yeah,
I
something
don't
like
know.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe two something. I don't know. It's not enough draw for me to want out and go get this. Especially, as you said, like, people are still waiting to get from their original pre-orders. Like, so no, I'm not gonna pre-order this. I'm not gonna waste my time, and I will play all these other games on my phone, on my imaginary Steam Deck, or on my mini consoles, that I have, or any other way I can play it. No, this is cool, but that's it. Yeah,
Not for you. All right, I
not for
got you.
me.
I got you. What about you, Max? Does this make you want to dip into retro gaming even deeper and pre-order it all out of pocket and hope it gets here by next Christmas?
By the time I have another man bun, yeah. Um, it is exciting me quite a bit, actually. Would I get this right now? Definitely not. But the idea of, just in general, with the Steam Deck and handheld gaming, and having something to dock it on, or something to like your computer full of like your emulations and stuff like that, being able to transfer it onto something you can take on the go with you, is amazing. I think that the future of gaming is definitely portable. There's, I mean, like, kind of ridiculous for me to say that at this point, considering that's where everybody's going. But having something like, let me say, like, I could see this as being my retro console. Let's say I don't have enough memory on my Steam Deck, which I plan to get eventually, to put all my stuff, all my emulation on there. It's nice having, I would say, two consoles, like a retro console and my main kind of console being, let's say, the Steam Deck. If I'm feeling retro, I take the retro one with me. If I'm feeling like, everything else, I take the Steam Deck with me. It's just that convenience that's really, or the idea of convenience is really drawing me in. And that screen is very crisp.
Yeah, I love that screen. Definitely, it's making me want to get into. I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been wanting to get into Game Boy Advance collecting, and I mean, obviously, I'd have to get a Game Boy Advance. I do have a DS Lite I could play Game Boy Advance games
Mhm.
on, but I mean, but then looking at this too, it's just like, this looks sweet for like Game Boy Advance games. You can change like the color palettes and all that stuff on there.
Hmm.
But at the same time, though, I mean, it's a steep price tag, man. So,
Yeah, can does anyone know how much this thing is actually?
um, I can
I
find out
thought we
real
said
quick.
350 last time, but I don't know. Somewhere in the 300s.
I can check it real quick. I'm on the website now. It is, if I go to the store, it is 219.
219. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, not that steep, not as steep as we were thinking, but
Well,
still.
I mean, the thing is, if you want a quicker, people are flipping this thing, so it's probably gonna be
Mhm.
like $300,
Yeah.
give or take. So, but if you do buy it from them, and it looks like they do have some available right now, so. But and then all the hardware stuff. If you want the Neo Geo Pocket adapter, that's a $30. Game Gear adapter, that's another $30. All
Hmm.
the adapters are like $30 a piece, and then I believe the dock is another $100, and then they also have like a hard case for it, which is $30.
So what you're telling me is I should buy it and then just hack it like everyone else, jailbreak it, and put a whole bunch of emulators on it because.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was my whole spiel. Put
Yeah,
emulators on it. Take your emulations on the go. Just do it.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Convenience.
Yeah, yeah. Check them out though. Analog.co. A lot of neat stuff on there, but it looks like all their Genesis stuff and Super NES stuff is all sold out. So, but I mean, you can definitely get it on from eBay. It might be a little more, but just for the most part, I mean that's how it goes. But figured I'd share that with you guys. Emulation talk. It's always fun for me. I love emulation. It's a great thing. All right, so did these the so Ubisoft must be like delusional or something because Far Cry 6 I'm hearing maybe getting a Game of the Year edition despite getting just about no awards. Have you
It
ever
got
heard of that?
nominated.
It got,
Yeah.
it got nominated, but I mean, I mean, the game wasn't that great, so it's I don't know. I feel like this like giving it a Game of the Year edition is kind of it's kind of funny to me. But I mean, I still haven't played the game yet, even though I have it in my backlog. I will play
Mhm.
it soon. Um, I hear it's all right for the most part, but I'm looking forward to it, and then I'll play it. I'll be the judge of it for myself. Max, how do you feel about Far Cry 6 in the Game of the Year edition? Would you get it, or would you just pass on it?
Um, kind of pass, but I love the idea that they were just like, you know, don't dream it, be it. Yeah, we're not nominated for Game of the Year. Let's make one anyway. Like that's amazing. That's amazing. It's just like I don't know. Kudos, Far Cry 6. You know what? You're somebody's Game of the Year out there, and that's what counts. So you're not technically lying. But real talk though, like I haven't really played Far Cry since Far Cry 3, and after like Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, I didn't want to play any other one. It was just too cool. So I kind of fell off after that. But from what I can see, like the series is doing well, and it's all I can say about it is just it's more Far Cry. So if you like that, I mean, you're gonna be happy.
Finest, how do you feel about the Far Cry Game of the Year edition? Does that make you want to go back and buy it? Well, you got the game originally through a bundle, so
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, once again, like, I don't think it's that big of a thing. I would say, I mean, this particular edition that was data mined, the when they like this was data mined through through a leaked image. So essentially, we don't even know if this is a thing. We don't know if this is like 100% a thing.
Mhm.
They pulled it down. The data miner that like leaked it and put it up on Twitter, they pulled that down immediately. But essentially, it's a rebranding of the Ultimate Edition, and it just includes all the DLC, which games have been doing for what, like 10, 15 years now. Like you
mm,
release the original game and then you release the Game of the Year edition at the end of the year, or the Ultimate Edition or the Deluxe Edition at the end of the
Mhm.
year that comes with all the DLC. So I mean, in terms of like the name, it's just semantics.
Mhm.
But I mean, if it's gonna help, Ubisoft like sell more Far Cry games, like sure, have at it. But I don't think it's that big of a thing. Like I don't think you have to be a game of the year. I don't think you don't have to win a game of the year in order to use this title, and games haven't been.
mm.
They
Mhm.
just That's just something that's like they use in order to sell more editions of the game. That tells gamers that you're getting all the tidbits and all the DLC and all the stuff, and there's no other stuff that's going to be released or shouldn't be, because this is the final version that's available to you, and it'll have all the bells and whistles.
So
Mhm.
you're telling me that it helps with game sales.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
All right, so maybe
Yes.
maybe Volitions to take Ubisoft, follow them and do a Game of the Year edition for Saints Row.
See what happens. We should do a case study.
That would be funny. Game of the Year, Saints Row Game of the Year edition. Oh boy, but I just thought that'd be pretty cool. All right, but I mean, for the most part, like I said, I do want to dip in the Far Cry 6 eventually, and we'll see what happens when I do. Holidays are coming, and not we're in the last quarter of the year now. I mean, October. Now is the home stretch. For games and what developers have been raving on all year long. So we'll definitely
Yeah.
check it out and see how it is.
Yeah. Plenty of people said it was a good game last year, and like I said, it
Hmm.
was nominated for Game of the Year. So
Hmm. All right, fair enough. All right, so let's get into some Xbox news. Xbox Games with Gold is cutting back on their monthly games. So is now pretty much it's going to be offering its subscribers two titles per month as opposed to the four for Xbox One and later hardware. And let's see, and they do have some games coming out this month in October. And let's see, I've not heard of these games, and according to this article, they're saying if you hadn't heard of them, you're not alone. So I don't feel too bad. Mona meets Breath of the Wild survival adventure. Wildbound is the first one. And the second one is Bomber Crew Deluxe Edition. Uh, and let's see, yeah, I've never heard of these games. I'm not familiar with these games, so I'll go to the man who probably is familiar with these games. F man, can you tell us a little bit more about Windbound or Bomber Crew Deluxe Edition?
No, I cannot.
All right, Max, you got anything? Let's see. Let's like Windbound. It's like a boat game or something from what I'm looking at here. Hmm.
Well, I was reading a little bit about the bomber one, just in the article. I hadn't heard of it before, but it sounded actually pretty interesting. Where you play in like a World War II plane, and it's kind of like a weird uh, simulator story, contextual, and you're trying to get everyone basically to safely to their destination through like a World War II like airplane war zone. And you can talk to crew members, I think, and you can like kind of get to know people. Which in the article it states that like this creates like more incentive to keep everybody alive. I think that sounds like pretty interesting concept. Um, the only thing is, yeah, I think they're scaling back to two games a month, right? Did you guys used to only get three or two?
It was four.
It was four. Okay,
Yeah, four games
so,
a month.
so
Now,
they're
yeah,
really
they're
splitting
scaling.
it half. Ooh.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
whenever.
but oh, I was just gonna say, but yeah, a lot of the games that they've been doing for like the last like year or two have all been recycled games. Like it's
Oh,
like
okay.
games that they've already put out. Like, and most of the games that they're focusing on are games that they're putting in Game Pass. So they're not, games
Yeah.
that are that great, really. That they've been gold anyway.
So,
Yeah,
as Xbox users, at that point, do you think that they should just scrap games with gold completely if they're not going to put a little bit more effort into it and just stick with Game Pass?
I think that's what they want most people to do is just switch over to Game Pass. Maybe that's why they're putting these games on purpose here. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
I
Hmm.
mean, that for me, that would just depend on what they're currently their user base is for people that have games with gold, because it's still something you pay for. So,
Hmm.
like, is that base like still like 3 million people? Is that 10 million people? Is it more than that? Like, I think is the really the that begs the question. Like, if that user base is still there, then yeah, you have to keep it around. But the fact that they dropped it down to like two games, I don't know. That might be indication that like many people aren't like haven't purchased games of gold, or it's
Hmm.
not being utilized as it should be. Or maybe it's just a indication that like, oh, we don't really need this if we do have Game Pass. I don't know. There's a lot of different options.
Hmm. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I would just like to see them move on from this thing, but I mean, I know, I guess not everyone wants to pay for Game Pass if you're an Xbox user or Game Pass Ultimate, because I mean, I think people, if they do have this, it's just for the online,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. Like, let's be real about this. But I mean, I'm at the point now where it's like these companies make enough money that they could just do free online, and then I don't know, but I
No,
mean,
no, they can't.
I would like
It'd
to
be
see free
nice.
online, but
Yeah. I mean, the PS3 was on like was free.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
it was free, so it got you into the user base in order so like you get like you jump into the ecosystem, because if you jump into the ecosystem, you're less likely to leave the ecosystem. So after they got you, then you're here. You pay for it every month. Because like you got used to a certain cadence, you got used to having online and all these different things. On top of that, I don't know if you remember the PS3 interface and online.
yeah, I do.
It was shit. Like, it was shit, and part of that was because it was free. So you kind of get what you pay for. So you want to make sure that you're getting a solid product, that they're going to invest in, and they continue to invest in that because you continue to invest in them. And that goes the same thing for Xbox. That's the
Hmm.
reason why Xbox keeps on making Game Pass better and keeps on making that whole infrastructure better. And last week we just talked about it, how they allow you to customize the dashboard and now the light on the controller and all those different features and everything. The reason why they're allowing you to do that and giving you those more options is because they want to make it better. So you stay invested within the entire ecosystem of having online. It's never going free again. So you can kind of just throw that one out the window.
Never hurts to dream, but definitely. I mean, we'll see what happens with uh Xbox games with gold. I mean, hopefully they just put out some better games or just make a flat rate for it online for those that don't want to do Game Pass for the most part. But
Yeah.
we'll just have to wait and see. Sticking with Xbox, looks like they got some games coming out for the month of October. They've already announced them. Seems like they announced them like new games every week coming to the service. October 11th, you got Coral Island. Also, October 11th, you got Evil. I think I said it right.
Mhm.
Coral Islands for the PC, by the way. Dyson Spear Program coming October 13th. That's also for PC. A Plague Tale Requiem, October 18th.
Requiem.
Norco,
Yep.
Requiem, yeah. Norco, October 18th. Persona 5 Royale, October 21st. Also October 21st, Scorn. And October 27th, you have a pair of games, Gunfire Reborn and Signalis. No, I can't read tonight. Any games here that our viewers or listeners should be looking forward to for the month of October? Max, any of these games you're familiar with?
So I feel like I'm from the dimension where like I have been waiting for Scorn to come out for like the last like 10 years. Like I feel like the first time I saw anything about it was like way back in like 2011, and I feel like I brought this up before. But I think like the earliest like anyone has ever like seen of it was like 2014. Maybe my whole timeline is totally wrong, but I'd love to see this because it's a HR Giger, David Cronenberg esque horror shooter. Like all of the guns look like, I don't know, organic, like disgusting alien body parts of some kind, and I really vibe with that. Other than that, like the Coral Island, the farming simulators are really coming up lately, and it's actually kind of like it's like pumping me up to like maybe like try out my own and like I don't know, a coral reef farming simulator. Yeah, definitely support your oceans.
F man, what games in October are you going to be playing on your Xbox for Game Pass if you're still paying for it?
No, I'm not paying for it right now. Yeah, I've none of the games have really drawn me in. I mean, there's definitely games there that are available, but I was on Game Pass the other day, and I was just going through. I was like seeing what was new, what's available. Yeah, and really not into much that's going on there. I think right now in terms of a value for games, I actually think the PlayStation Plus is better right now in terms of like what they're offering. Scorn is something that like is kind of interesting. Yeah, that whole the whole art style that is like HR. I say Geiger. I know you say Giger, but I like that whole art style was like big in AP art class, back in high school, and just like seeing it like come to life here is very interesting. And in addition to that, yeah, I think that I don't know. I think that's a relatively cool game. I know a lot of people are excited for a Plague Tale Requiem.
Mhm.
Original Plague Tale was pretty it had a lot of fanfare behind it, so kind of curious about that. But no, I you know what, I'm not very happy with Xbox right now, just as a whole.
I'm
um
sorry to hear that, man. I know
yeah,
you're still dreading that purchase, or I'm guessing it hasn't gotten any better, or.
it hasn't gotten much better. This year is kind of really just a bust. I already have Persona 5. I
Mhm.
don't have Royale though, so maybe that could be the draw for me here. Like I can finally get into Royale. I stopped playing Persona 5 because legitimately like a month later Royale came out. And so like I put 20 hours in, and I was like, oh crap, they're coming out with a new one. Very much like the game of the year, the game of the year edition. But there's a whole bunch of other improvements besides just DLC and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But yeah, like I do want to get back into that game at some point. I just need the time to do it, now is not the time for me because I am very busy. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, not really enough here for me to jump back in and purchase Game Pass.
yeah,
Especially when I have the PlayStation Plus for the next 7-8 months.
yeah. I mean, I think right now the PlayStation Plus is a much better value than Game Pass. Unfortunately, I mean, I know they have their first parties like Forza 5, Horizon 5 is still on there, and
Mhm.
Halo. I know it's doing its thing. It's been having its share of problems though, but yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, going into this holiday season, if you have an Xbox Series X or S, it's I don't know what to tell you. It's gonna be kind of like, I mean, just to play third party games. I mean, if you don't have a PlayStation 5, I guess that's all right, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like they could have did better.
Yeah.
It's
Looking at the
sad
rest
when
of the
Switch
year.
is like putting out more first party games than like
Yeah.
Microsoft.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
what?
It
It's
hurts. It
It
really
kind of does
hurts,
hurt.
man.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, yeah, Nintendo has the games, but yeah, this I thought, I'm not gonna lie, as a gamer who likes to watch the whole industry as a whole,
Mhm.
I thought Xbox would have did a lot better.
Yeah, it's like the very thing that really separated Xbox when it came out. The third party support is kind of like what's killing it now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hate to say it, but it's the truth. So, I know Xbox has that ambassadors program, but I mean, how far is that really gonna take you? Just
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like it's not worth it. I mean, that's just my opinion there.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, in terms of what might get gamers sucked into Game Pass, who does have a Series X or S, and if they have no other console, probably Persona 5 Royale, and the other game, A Plague Tale of Requiem. So, just so I would probably recommend those two games for anyone that's looking forward to this lineup for the month. And Xbox is always just dropping more games, dropping them like it's hot. So we'll see. And then no word on any games that are leaving the service as of right now. So I mean, unless I'm missing something, but otherwise, those are the games coming. Enjoy, and yeah. So for the most part, we're gonna move on to. Actually, hold on a sec. Accidentally clicked out of my notes here. All right, here we go.
PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, PlayStation Plus, the service you do have, and looks like they have a pretty good lineup coming out this month. So
That
we're
they
gonna go through
do.
these games. Injustice 2, super hot, and last certainly not least for the PS5 and PS4, Hot Wheels Unleashed. Great lineup. I mean, yeah, it's a great lineup, a great lineup. Maybe not excellent, but it's a great lineup. Hot Wheels Unleashed. If you have not played that, download it. It is fun. It's
Mhm.
what every Hot Wheels game should be. You'll be grinding for a minute there, but it is fun. And online's not that bad either. I mean, but that definitely it's definitely a fun game. I really like that. And Justice 2, I'm not the biggest fighting game fan, but it's definitely worth a try. I'm definitely gonna give that a download. And super hot. I don't have too much experience with this game, but
It's a great
uh,
game.
Oh, it's
yeah.
wonderful.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. I'll let you take it
Must
away,
play.
Swanus. Yeah, must play. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's super
Um.
hot.
Oh, you.
Super hot.
The
All
soundtrack
right.
is amazing. No, it's a how do you even explain it, Max? It's a shooter puzzle
Yeah.
game that's in first person where you kill guys in order to build up meter in order
Mhm.
to slow down time to dodge more bullets, and it's
Yeah.
this vicious cycle of it getting more complicated. And if you have a PlayStation VR, the original one, it is an excellent game in that too, and it's even better on HTC Vive. It's also on the Quest 2, and pretty much every VR headset out there, which only improves the gameplay. It's like it was meant to be in VR. But yeah, Super Hot is so much fun. It's like it's like the game that like rivaled Beat Saber before Beat Saber became a thing. Like
Oh
it was like the original Beat Saber, and yeah, just so much fun. It was one of my go tos when I would play PlayStation VR, and then I tried to play it without it, and it kind of just wasn't the same in terms of immersion, but still a great game nevertheless. And yeah, it's definitely a must play.
yeah.
Yeah, that's totally awesome. So I'm glad you guys had a great time with it. So I will definitely download all two of these games because one of them I already have, Injustice 2
Oh, you
and
do?
Super Hot. Yeah, I have that one. I've had that. I got it last year. I've had it a
Oh,
while though.
wonderful.
So
I was
yeah,
going to
definitely.
say, if you haven't had it yet,
Yeah.
one of gateway characters you could play as the Turtles.
This is true. You can play as the Ninja Turtles. That and so that's like my kind of my biggest complaint about this pack in terms of like games that are available. Um, is like two of them are like super old.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I've had Injustice 2 forever. It's gone on sale a billion times. Like it's gone down to like
I think
like
it's
10.
4.99.
Oh, is it four man? Yeah, exactly. Because
Last
it's
time
just
I
been
saw
out.
it.
It's just been out for so long. On top of that, Super Hot's kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
Like this game has been out for years and years. Like at least 5 years, I want to say, easily.
yeah.
And
Injustice 2
so,
is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, no, what were you gonna say?
Oh, a long-winded story about how it was my gateway into competitive esports, and how bad I was at it. But yeah, we could save that for another time.
Well,
We can say,
and now I'm kind of interested.
Now you're interested? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, break it down for us real quickly.
yeah, definitely break
So
it
me and a
down.
buddy, we're big, comic book fans, and we both got on the Injustice train, and we signed up for. We have a chain of movie theaters in Canada. Maybe you guys have Cineplex Odeon. In the
No,
States.
no, is
I've
that
not heard of it. I think I've heard of
that's
it,
where
but
they
there's
show
none in
porn,
Southern
right?
California.
Yeah,
Listen,
it sounds like a porn theater.
no, it's like our equivalent of like AMC.
Okay,
I've heard of Cineplex. I don't think they're none in Southern California, but
Skinaplex, what?
Skinaplex, yeah.
Cinemax. Anyway, the movie theater would sponsor esports, and they had a lot of fighting game tournaments: Street Fighter V, Mortal Kombat X at the time, and Injustice 2. That was like the biggest new one. And we signed up. It was, I was main in Batman at the time, and I was feeling pretty confident. And my first match was against Deadshot, whom I don't know if you guys are very familiar, uses guns and sits in the
Mm.
corner and just shoots you. So that's about the. That's basically how my first match went. I tried to get on this guy, and this was, before all of like the nerfs and everything like that. And like launch Deadshot was so busted. It
Yeah,
was, it was so busted. He had like these trick shots and these ricochets that would just bounce you around. You could not stand. He would just constantly keep you off balance, and I spent the entire matches just trying to get in on him.
yeah.
And my confidence was shot after that. My buddy, he got to the next round playing Dark Side because his opponent never showed up. And then
Lucky you got to buy.
he got a bye. And then when he actually played, he got stumped. And his technique was to stand in the back and shoot omega beams at people, and the guy got pretty wise to it and took him out. So we were humbled that day.
Nice, nice. I
That's
mean,
hilarious.
I love fighting games, but the Injustice games, that entire fighting style, like the slower paced NetherRealm, like Mortal Kombat and Justice like
Yeah,
games, like it never really drew me. It's very, I don't know. It, it feels like Mortal Kombat. Like it feels like OG Mortal Kombat to me.
yeah,
Like the moves just feel like everything feels so intentional. It doesn't feel like smooth or fluid. It feels like when you punch, like you kick it, and there's like they're almost like stiff, like the characters. So
yeah,
it bothers me a little bit. Like there's moves that like are very fluid within that, but the overall scheme of it just feels very clunky to me. So I do have those games. I liked Injustice 2 particularly though, because there was all the different types of armors
hmm,
that would like you can basically customize your character.
yeah,
to, you can, you would be able to adjust their moveset. You can customize their armor and so forth, and change their stats based on the armor that you got by
Mhm.
playing the game. Now you can use it online too, but only if like it was enabled,
Yeah.
um, or you played certain modes. So, and
Otherwise, it was
most
just
people,
cosmetic.
yeah, otherwise it was just cosmetic. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. And my entire point was just those two games are old, but still great games nevertheless. Hot Wheels Unleashed, I've been playing that for several weeks now. I
Mhm.
pop that in for like 10-15 minutes, and I'll play like one or two levels. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's way too easy. but but other than that, like, it's still fun just to like race around like a giant basement, or an arcade,
Yeah.
or a billiard, or whatever the case. So yeah, love it there. Yep.
Yeah, definitely check out the games if you are a PlayStation Plus Essential fan. If you don't have the higher tiers like Finance here, I mean, it's a great lineup of games. Super Hot, as you heard from them, Injustice 2, and definitely Hot Wheels Unleashed. Has my stamp of approval, so you'll love them. Check them out. Can't go wrong with them this month. All right, moving on. Delay alert, delay alert, delay alert. We have another delay here. I can't. We need to get like a delay alarm or something. I don't know, man. But
Wee woo, wee woo.
or it's like a siren, or
I'll
I don't know.
I'll work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, final. Yeah, you got to work on that. Looks like Skull and Bones has been delayed again for the fifth time. 5 times this game has been delayed, and I don't think anyone's cares really. I mean, quite frankly, it's been in the making for what, almost 7 years. It's like 5, 6, 7 years. So it's. I mean, I'm kind of just over it at this point, and that doesn't look very appealing to me, in my opinion. And I guess the $70 price tag they're going to debut later this month. We'll have to wait, and it's going to be influencing other companies too, which will be in our next story. But I don't want to get there just yet. But how do y'all feel about Skull and Bones? Max, I know you have that look of frustrated, like, damn it, I pre-ordered this game, now I just want to play.
Look at
How
this
you
map
feeling,
behind me.
Max?
This is all about pirates. No, anyway. Um, it makes me. It just kind of makes me sad, like, because you're. Oh, sorry. You're right. Like, I don't think there's a lot of buzz about this, and a lot of the news that we've heard, like especially in this article too, is like there's been a ton of like toxic work environment talked about. Developer crunch has been talked about, like things that people are no strangers to, especially when it comes to delays. And I just I hope that when it comes out, people will love it and people will love playing it, just in general, because yeah, it sucks. It would suck to find out that, like, all of this hard work that you've put into, just, there was no interest, even when it's a solid game. So I hope that it's solid. I hope that people pick it up when it comes out. And yeah, the delays, take your time. Take your time, make the best product possible, and you know, we'll be looting and plundering on the high seas in no time, customizing ships and making them look amazing. So
I was muted there, and going to war with your fellow shipmates, or well, the enemy, I guess.
Wait, what,
Or
mates?
shipmates.
What? Okay, sorry. I'm just being silly.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
How do you feel, Finance? I know you're mad that you're not going to be playing no Skull and Bones this year on the Xbox Series X.
you know what? I mean, I'm not mad at Ubisoft. I'm really not. Um, there's been about 50 games delayed this year.
Yeah.
One more is not going to be a big thing, but even more than that, I think Ubisoft is doing the right thing by making sure that the game is honestly in the best condition it can be when it does come to release, and that they have the most content that they could provide us, in a finished state. And I think that's the most important thing that they could absolutely do. And I mean, they were doing this like last year. Like, if you remember last year, like 2021, I mean, they delayed Skull and Bones. They delayed The Division Heartland. They delayed Just Dance.
Yeah,
What
Just
else?
Dance got delayed.
Yeah, I mean, they delayed like half their life. I mean, they've delayed Prince of Persia and Far Cry and Riders of the Republic all last year. So like the fact that like Ubisoft is like taking these hits left and right, I mean, is kind of worrisome because that could be like poor management and and like
Yeah,
other problems right there. But the fact that they're like willing to do it and make sure that like these games actually have a fighting chance, I think is more important than anything. So I mean, yeah, like delay it, give it some room to breathe. Hopefully, February is looking stupidly packed next year, and this game is set for March. So I don't know how much room it's going to really have to breathe.
I
But
think what I'll keep going.
oh no, 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 well, jump in,
I
please.
think what a $70 price tag, it's not gonna do very well. I'm just being real with
Well, I
you.
mean, you better get used to it. This is Ubisoft is just jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
already seeing Sony like Sony's saying like, oh yeah, these games are going to 70. EA is saying like their games are going to 70. I'm pretty sure Activision and Call of Duty will all be next. Ubisoft is just jumping on the train. Like it's that time. We're starting to see games only be next gen exclusive. We're
Yeah.
yeah,
starting to see less and less
yeah,
multi generational games. And even with that, like it's been a mess. Like the last two
yeah. It
years
has
have
been a
been a
mess.
mess in terms of upgrades and paths. And Sony said they weren't going to do it, but they ended up doing it. Microsoft is like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it, and now they cut it off like earlier this year. So yeah, and it's just been a total mess. But yeah, get ready. $70 is going to be the new price tags for games.
Mhm.
And it'll be pretty much cemented in 2023. If not all games, most games. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. So March 9th is when Skull and Bones comes out. It's getting delayed one more time. Hopefully, everything's ready to go with it. I mean, I think Ubisoft is taking a uh, is doing what Volition should have did and just delay Saints Row even further so they don't have a broken game. And I'm sure developers were looking at the reception of that game, and they just like if they're delaying, I can't be mad at them for that. It's just like I don't know, just with the crunch and all that stuff, delays. I mean, I just want to get to the point where it's just like if you are gonna delay it, try not to delay it more than three times at
Yeah.
least. I don't know, but
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, if anything, that like, I mean, I would assume that leads to less. And I mean, sometimes it doesn't. We've heard reports before, like, like, oh, just because it's delayed doesn't mean like, that means there's less crunch. It just means that we're working harder for longer. But in the same respect, we have heard about toxic work environment from UB, and but we've been hearing about that across the industry from every
Yeah.
like honestly every studio.
mm,
So I mean that's just fine. But what I'm hoping for is that this has just been such a long development cycle for this particular game that I'm hoping that it's been like Ubisoft just like kind of like sitting back and just letting the developers do their thing so they can release the best game possible. I don't think this game has been 7 years going on like 8 years of crunch,
Yeah.
or even like because if you just look at all the delays, it's been delayed since 2019. So
mm,
I don't think the last 3 years have been all crunch. But I'm not there, so I honestly don't know.
all right. Well, speaking of $70 games, we're gonna stick with $70 games for a little bit, and we're gonna talk about a $70 game that appeared on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm pretty sure Nintendo's gonna follow a lot of these developers too, going putting their games at $70. I mean, do you think the next Zelda game being cheaper than Skull and Bones would go well with Nintendo? I mean, let's
No, you're gonna have to take a mortgage out.
and that's just funny to me. But yeah, a $70 game has appeared on the Nintendo Switch eShop. And what's weird about it is it's an old game. It's Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Anniversary Edition, and it's all digital for $69.99. Man,
Ugh.
yeah, that yeah. The first game that's $70 is anniversary edition that does not even have a physical edition. It's just digital. And just for the most part, $70. Yep, Skyrim, $70 on the Nintendo Switch, and just get ready for the third parties and definitely the first parties. Like I said, I mean, with Nintendo, I mean, the next Zelda game, uh, Tears of the Kingdom versus Skull and Bones, being cheaper than that. Yeah, I don't think that's going to sit well with Nintendo. Just saying. But how do y'all feel about a $70 game on the Nintendo Switch? Go ahead,
I
Max.
have a counter question. How do you guys feel about Skyrim being released for the 16th time in 11 years?
That and yeah, the fact that it's an old
Oh
game for $70.
my god.
I
Does it do
mean,
my taxes?
the amount of work that they had to probably do in order for them to get it to work properly on the Switch. I mean, because if you remember this game had bugs on like every console, especially on I
Oh
mean the
yeah.
PlayStation 3,
Oh yeah.
it was unplayable. So just the amount of work that they had to do on the Switch to get this running, I'm actually not surprised it's $70.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
Look,
probably earned each and every one of like, yeah, let's hit it at something. It was so hard, even though this is like the 15th, 16th time rolling out this game.
this is ridiculous. Like I'm not like it's exhausting, but I'm not even mad about it anymore. It's just hilarious. This is like the greatest joke of all time. They're gonna be releasing Skyrim when we're in our 50s.
yeah.
I
I
swear it's
mean,
gonna happen.
GTA 5 is doing the same thing, and they keep
Yeah,
on selling them. So I mean,
yeah,
if you can keep on releasing the same game and keep on making money off of it, then why not?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Just imagine if GTA 5 comes to the Nintendo Switch,
Oh my
they'd
god.
probably put it at some. That's
Wow.
just really funny to me. I mean, I had a feeling we were gonna get a kick out of this one.
Yeah, you were right. You were right. I feel like I've been kicked to the teeth, to be honest with you, but oh,
Yeah, and they tried to be quiet about it too, but I mean, there was an article. Yep, $70 version of Skyrim quietly appears on the Nintendo
they're
Switch.
trying to be
yeah,
quiet about this. Yeah,
Yeah,
they know how they know what they're doing. Let me
yeah.
just like slide this under the table here.
oh that didn't work. Nice
Yeah,
try.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
nice try,
we're gonna
fellas.
see this more and more.
Yep,
World's worst
yep,
pickpocket.
yep. The next Zelda game, $70. So don't be surprised, anyone. Well, they haven't announced the price yet, so you never know. All right, enough with $70 games. So there was an interview done with the Steam Deck over at the Tokyo Game Show with Kat Bailey from IGN, doing it for IGN Southeast Asia. And for the most part, I just wanted to focus on the slimmer Steam Deck having some drawbacks. And I know this was a pretty lengthy article. We'll definitely link it in the show notes. But let's see. A question was asked, if I can find the question. Let's see. Yeah, I should have bookmarked this. All right. So pretty much, what I believe Lawrence Yang, that's his name, I believe. He said that pretty much answered the question about a slimmer Steam Deck. It would probably mean less battery life. So we would just have to weigh all those and make sure that we can do what we can to mitigate it. So for the most part, just answering any questions about the Steam Deck, and if it could be if we can get a slimmer one, because let's be real, the hardware is heavy. Some people use it as a handheld, some people use it as a console with
Hmm.
the third party docks that they've been able to use already. I would suggest just waiting for their dock. I mean, I know that was also asked about in this article too. When does it come in? Pretty much it has said, just the supply, just waiting on materials, all that good stuff. So, anything you guys wanted to comment on this interview about the Steam Deck? I know you have your pre-orders in, so finest.
Yeah, I mean, just of course, like not necessarily smaller, but a thinner, lighter Steam Deck would be nice. Yeah, I would say, as the article mentions, there's pros and cons to that. So they need to make sure that the device is cooled properly. They need to
Hmm.
make sure that they have a big enough battery so you actually can get some decent battery life out of it, which what's it called, the kill switch
Kill switch.
from D-Brand, which we haven't talked about,
Mm.
but I heard that is an excellent case for the Steam Deck. So if you're thinking about purchasing cases, that's a great one. Let's see. Other than that, yeah, no, I don't know. I really don't have much to say about the slimmer, lighter. There's definitely a ton of great information in this article. Um, and I think a part of, like, as they were like talking about it and reading through the article, just the amount of iterations that they did,
Mm.
like there was like over like 70 iterations like of the Steam Deck. So you could only imagine. Yeah, they wanted a smaller, thinner model too, probably more in line with the Switch, but with a bigger screen. Yeah, but they also wanted to make sure that they got the controls on there. I mean, if you look at the controls on the Steam Deck, I mean, it legit has everything. You have your joystick, you have your mouse pad, you have your D-pad, you have your not only your shoulder buttons, but you have double shoulder buttons on that thing, like, and it has a touchscreen accelerometer and a gyrometer or gyrometer, whatever. I forget what it's called, but anyway, it has a gyro in it. So I mean, just
Gyro.
yeah, the capabilities within that device and the size that it currently is at is just amazing. And right now we're not seeing any other products out there. We're seeing a whole bunch of handhelds, which I know we're going to talk about in a moment. We're seeing
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other handhelds come out, and while they are generally cheaper, we're seeing them like in the $300 to $400 range. They are not providing the just they're not providing the features that the Steam Deck currently is at the Steam Deck's cheapest price.
Yeah.
Yes, you can buy a Steam Deck for $800, but you could also buy one for $400, and none of these other machines are even close in terms of features that the cheapest Steam Deck is providing. But I'll leave it right there. What do you guys think?
Per, Max, you can go ahead.
Oh, well, I had some different takeaways when I was reading the article. Kind of just things that I guess like hyped me up. One of the things that related to the size of the Steam Deck that really surprised me was one of the most, like, the biggest comments that people make are that the size of it is very misleading. It's a lot lighter than it looks, and it's a lot more comfortable than it looks. I think those were like the two um, biggest, like user comments, I suppose, regarding this. So, I mean, as long as it can cool it, it's comfortable. Um, you know, I was a little worried about like the positioning of the analog sticks in the beginning, but people don't seem to have any issues with it.
People
Um,
think it's great, actually.
yeah, like that's great. That's wonderful. And would I want one slimmer? Look, if it fit, or if it sits, it fits. I'm happy with it. But one of the best, things that I loved about what Lawrence was talking about was he kind of like explained that, like, as a parent, um, being able to kind of game, like handheld gaming, is great in like a family setting, because you can hang out all in the same room, even if you're all doing like different things. Like maybe you're like tuning into a show with like your significant other, watching a movie or something like that, or they want to watch something and you want to hang out on the couch with them. You're playing your games. Or if you have like kids, you literally can drop everything and like go, if they need assistance with anything like that. It's wonderful. And there's a comfort factor to that, and where you're not sitting in like a gaming chair the whole time. And yeah, it just sounded like a very cozy, great option for uh, older fans of video games who can't always make the time to just sit down with a console, or sit down at the computer and play. You have something that you can just take with you, chill on the couch, and it everybody's happy. There's a great compromise. Um, but yeah,
Hmm.
that it's just like the analog pocket. Like I said, like this is the way of the future. If I had my emulated machine that I can take with me wherever I go that plays all my old favorites, and my newer machine that plays all my new stuff, like man, I'm set. I'm set.
I look at the Steam Deck and I just look at this thing. It's everything I would want out of the Nintendo Switch. If the Nintendo Switch could just do that, then I don't think anyone would need any other handheld device ever.
Mhm.
And we've been talking about these handheld devices all year long. There's a whole list of them. I was actually thinking about making that the main topic this week. Just with our next article coming up and all. But yeah, just I mean, the Steam Deck. It is a beauty. I mean, right now, I mean, I just wouldn't be able to justify spending that much money on a handheld to my wife. Especially with I can play these games like in other ways, and I don't really travel all that much, and
Mhm.
I have the Switch, so I'm good with that. But I know it's not good with some other people. They taking your PC games on the go, your Steam library, or if you want, you can just make it a retro emulation powerhouse and call it a day. Whatever you want to do with it, the possibilities I feel are endless with this thing. So
Yeah, I
great.
mean, it's a PC. And I think that's a thing that
Hmm.
a lot of people are forgetting. Like,
Yeah.
regardless it's if a handheld, like you can't get mad at the size because it's a PC. Like the fact that they were able to get the ergonomics correct and add all these different features and add like a solid set of controls, and really make it feature complete in terms of like what a PC handheld could be like is absolutely amazing. The amount of power that this thing has, on top of like the iOS system that that Valve continuously updates like on a almost like on a daily basis in order to enrich the features. It has its own quick resume like feature, very much like the a full Xbox Series X or S does, is absolutely insane. You know, I like the fact in this article, and even in previous articles, like they very much like Valve made it known like this is the first iteration of something they're going to support for a very very long time, and I think that's the important thing to really note. They do have like a wealth of money. They have the
Hmm.
resources. They put out some other tech that didn't work out, and we were all hesitant. We were looking at this thing, we're like, ooh, it's expensive. Ooh, like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Valve put out the controller, it wasn't great. They put out the other mini PC like to hook up to your
The Steam
TV.
box.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah,
Steam box.
that failed.
Yeah, that failed. But taking those losses and applying it to something, applying those features into to something their newest piece of technology and that works, and that's only getting better with time, is absolutely amazing because you don't see that with a lot of pieces of hardware, it releases and it gets better with time. Like if you look at the switch was pretty much like an outdated piece of tech when it released, but
But
they've
people
been
still
able.
bought it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Nintendo is they're wizards and using their own tech in order to finagle like secret ways in order to use it and really optimize for it. And really like the PlayStation, and of course the a lot of the PlayStations, each generation and most generations, like the games, they keep on pushing the hardware like more and more. So we usually see like it best at like between like 5 to 7. But you don't typically see that with handhelds. And yeah, it's such a wonderful piece of technology, and I honestly want one now. The only reason why I haven't bought one and I'm not going to buy one right now is because I can't wait for the next one. Like I'm so excited about the next feature set of Valve's handheld, and I don't think it's too far away. I
Mhm.
think I think we're gonna see it like within the next 1 to 2 years, the next iteration of this, and that'll be my first one, and I'll hold on to that for some time. But really looking forward to it. And yeah, this thing just gets me excited every time I see it and talk about it.
Man, that's the same reason why you haven't bought the Switch yet, because you're waiting on the next Switch to
No, no,
play
no,
it.
no, 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 no. It's not the same because the Switch is a piece of shit. Pardon my French. The Switch
Mm,
is just a piece of shit. It's always been a piece of shit. Yes, you get Nintendo exclusive games on it. Totally happy about that. The Steam Deck is something amazing, and it deserves to be purchased right now. And I would love to purchase it right now, like you know. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like that's it's this thing with cell phones. It's this thing with technology and things like that. Do you buy the first one that comes out? Like, should you buy it? And if you do, like, when you spend as much as you do on something like a device like this, like it like you're not going to go get rid of it like soon as the next one comes out, like the iPhone or whatever. Usually wait like 2 or 3 generations because you just dropped such a large amount of money on that piece of technology.
yeah.
So like, do I buy it now and I'm happy with it, and then the next one comes out and then I'm like, oh man, that has better battery life and it has a better screen and it has more built-in memory and all this other stuff, or it's a trade-off. It's like, do you want to be in the now or do you want to be in the later? And right now, I want to be in the later. I want the newest, best thing. And for me personally, I can't afford to buy every iteration of every piece of hardware. I would love to, but I can't. So I make these hard choices for myself and I wait. And the Switch is not a great piece of hardware. So I've been keeping away from that, because if I was to buy a Switch, the amount of things that I would have to buy in order for me to use it how I'd like to use it would cost me as much or more as a Steam Deck. So I rather would just go buy a Steam Deck. But
Yeah.
I'm done.
You know what,
Um,
Finest? You are a consumer who plays chess, aren't you?
I
yeah,
am.
he is.
You
He
let the
is.
pawns go first, and then you wait for the bigger pieces. I like it.
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason why I haven't purchased my PS5. Also, it's like
Yeah.
the PS5 isn't. I don't think it's great. Like, I think it's good. I think it's a good piece of hardware, but like now they're like reducing the weight. They're like they just put a new AMW, not AMW,
AMD.
AW.
AMD AMD chip in it. And we're gonna see those. We're gonna see those. They put root beer in the PlayStation
Yeah,
5.
with the side of a root beer float. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Get yours today.
If that was the case, if it was it's big enough that it literally could dispense sodas. Um, yeah, and I do play chess with these things, and just the way technology works, you kind of have to. So yeah, I'll be purchasing that at a later date, but yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna stick with handhelds just for a little bit. So last week we talked about Logitech's new hardware that's gonna be, focusing on cloud gaming. With its handheld. Looks like Razer and Verizon and Qualcomm are getting into the mix. And the name of this is the Razer Edge 5G. It's going to be sporting Snapdragon G3X Gen 1, which is Qualcomm's latest gaming platform. If you read the tweet from George Corinios, I know I've mispronounced that. Sorry if you are listening, George. Breaking: Verizon, Razer, and Qualcomm are teaming up on the world's first 5G mobile gaming handheld, Razer Edge 5G. It will allow you to play your favorite games regardless of whether you are gaming in the cloud, on an app, or streaming from your console. And again, the gaming industry or gamers, do they really need this? I mean, I feel like the whole industry is flooded with all these handhelds,
Yeah.
not including the Switch or the Steam Deck. I mean, those two are king in my opinion, but everything else I feel is just like you could play all these games like elsewhere, especially the retro ones. So, but I mean, they're taking their dab at it. No price release just yet, but I mean, it's a new one, and we got to do a roundtable about how many handhelds have been released this year, because right now I'm lost. Like it's just too many to keep up with, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Max, how do you feel about this being introduced?
I think that the non like big gaming company uh handhelds like the one of the best non-gaming company handhelds out there that like really comes to mind is like a Leapster, like for kids.
Leapster,
Like
okay.
if you know what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
they have tons of games and they've been doing well like pretty consistently for like, you know, I believe ages. I don't know. I don't have it up in front of me, unfortunately, but like, yeah, it's something that kind of came to my mind. Even the last episode too. Just I don't know, but I feel like we're riding like these companies are just riding the wave of the you know handheld uh, resurgence, I suppose, or like the new millennium of handhelds. Um, I think that we'll see. I don't know. I hope people do well. Like I really do at the end of the day, but I don't know. I'm starting to think that maybe, if it's not Nintendo, if it's not Steam, if it's not, PlayStation or Xbox, um, we can be a little critical, like right off the bat. Because, hey, like some of these machines might just like blow us out of the water without like any second thought. But, you know, my gut reaction always to these is, yeah, that's not going to sell well. That's not going to do well. But we'll see. Like again, like I want people to succeed in this market. I want people to provide like new and innovative ways. But like cloud gaming, like, I don't know. It's not really something that like provides any sort of confidence. Um, if I'm speaking subjectively, but yeah, I don't know. That's my take.
Pius, I know you got something to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, right now it's a saturated market.
Yeah.
All these companies saw the success of the Switch, and people were clamoring that I want a Switch, I want a better Switch. You're getting it, people. You wanted something better than the Switch. Every company heard you, and they want a piece of that market. They want a piece of that 110 million. Are we at the Switch right now?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, about 110 million, give
yeah.
or take. Yeah.
So I think people originally were skeptical. With the failure of the PlayStation Vita, but then with the success of the Switch, everyone wants a piece of that market, and we're currently
Uh,
seeing.
and that doesn't make sense to me. I don't see why the Vita. I don't know. Well, go on.
Okay, well, but I want to hear your thought
Oh yeah, yeah,
after
yeah.
I'm done.
I'll talk more about it. Yeah.
But yeah, you know what, everyone's like, okay, we can do this better. I think the thing is, R&D, development, UI, all these things take multiple years to build out. So people are like, okay, we're going to get this done before the next Switch, or we're going to get this done in the next like 4 or 5 years, and now we're seeing a product of all of that. But the thing is, people didn't account for all their competitors. They didn't like none of like these companies like Logitech and Verizon and Razer and Valve and Ayano or
Oh yeah.
and there's even more. There's
Yeah. There's
even
more. You're
like
probably forgetting something.
Yeah.
there no
Yeah.
there's definitely like more. Like there's been like 3 or 4 handhelds that have been released out of China, that all are similar concepts, cloud gaming, with screens and blah 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 blah, and they have more even coming out. And yeah, the market's saturated because they did not count for each other. I think they only looked at Nintendo. Yeah, they're there, but we can definitely take a piece of that. Even if we sold 50 million, we
Which
do
they
great,
won't.
which they're not, because just the market's so horrible right now. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, business for everyone out there. And I don't envy any of them. And if you're going to put something out there, just make sure you put it out, like make sure it's the best thing out there.
Mhm.
Like feature complete, make sure it has the flexibility of the Steam Deck at this point. Cause Valve basically gave it like in terms of accessibility, it's like if you're handicapped, you can play this device. If you are blind in one eye, you can play this device. Like if you only have two fingers, like you can play the. And now every other competitor has to live up to that. I
Yeah.
think the only other
Yeah.
way to really make sure you succeed in the market is make sure you have the games
Games.
and
That's important.
make sure you're the cheapest, because
Yeah.
that's the other half of the market. Nintendo's cornering the people that really have the cheaper, that can't afford the Steam Deck. You know, they have that market corner for anyone that wants a handheld slash console, and Steam Deck has anyone that wants a high end console slash PC mobile device. And so those markets are really pretty much accounted for. So the only way you're going to capture that is you have to do better than Valve, and make sure that it's price competitive, if not cheaper, or you have to do better than what Nintendo is doing, and you have to make your device cheaper, which people are not doing. Everyone's
No.
right in between. They're more expensive than the Switch, and then they're less than the Steam Deck, and neither one has the feature. Like no one has the features of either one. So yeah, it's gonna be real tough for people out there. But if you need help in market economics and strategy in terms of selling, I'm here for you. So
Yeah, so I want so yeah, so let's go back to the Vita for a minute. I mean, that was a great piece of hardware. I mean, I
It
got
was.
one. I mean, I have one. I got one recently. I hardly ever play it, but I mean, it was great. I mean, with the 3DS and all that good stuff. I'm just trying to figure out what went wrong with the Vita. Was it the promotion? I don't think it
I
was the
think
games. I
no.
don't think it was the games.
I think it was just timing.
Okay.
Like,
Were people going away from handhelds for during that time? You
yeah,
think?
I think that they were really like what was out popular at the time. It was 2000, I think 13,
2012, 2013, somewhere around there.
2013. So we had um I think we still had the Wii going on. I don't think the Wii U was out yet. Um
I think the Wii U had just come out.
or it might
Maybe I
have,
don't
yeah,
know.
just come out. But like I think that there was a lot of like shift away from handheld gaming. Because you didn't hear about it at all unless it was from Nintendo. And at that time, I feel like the handheld market was definitely delegated to Nintendo, even though like
Yeah,
the Vita was an amazing machine.
the Nintendo's always been the king of handheld.
Yeah,
I've said that for years. So
yeah. But the lead up to the Vita 2 was terrible. Like the Vita itself was amazing, but like you had the PSP, which was amazing, and then they had that was the 1000, and then they had the PSP 2000, and the 3000, and then the Slim, and then they took it and were like, let's make the PSP, the PS Portable, even more portable. So they made the PSP Go, which was like that flip phone style
yeah,
PSP, which was even smaller, and I think that they made another model, and it was just another weird deviation from its original design, and I think that really killed confidence in PlayStation, like confidence in PlayStation's handheld market. And by the time the Vita did come out, just people didn't care. Like people didn't care that you could play like Metal Gear Solid 2 in the palm of your hand, which like even just saying that just sounds amazing, you know. But yeah, it was just poor timing.
no, it absolutely was.
mm.
I'm sorry, J man. Did you want to jump in right here?
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, it was poor timing. If you think about it, that's also like you guys said, 2012 the Wii released in North America, the same time as the PlayStation Vita. So
Mm.
both of those released 2012. Everyone was talking about the Wii, like nobody was thinking about the Vita or anything else. So like yeah, Nintendo already had the market in terms of handhelds, and then PlayStation, yeah, they failed with the PlayStation Go, as you already mentioned, so that was a big part of it. And then they released the PlayStation Vita, and it was the same issue that we're kind of seeing right now, like in terms of like the Xbox, and then the issues that we saw with the just the original PlayStation Vita, also proprietary memory cards. So
Yeah.
you gotta remember
Yeah,
those memory cards. At that time they were like,
the micro SDs. Yeah,
yeah, the micro SDs
Mm,
were Sony proprietary. So they cost a fortune. They were like $200 for like 64 gigs because the
yeah,
space wasn't, the
yeah.
technology hadn't evolved yet. So like that was a really big issue. I think games were actually an issue too.
Hmm.
Just because Sony just they have this very they have this habit, just the thing that they do is that they bring out these peripherals, and they bring out these technologies and things like that, and they don't market them. Like they just kind of they put them out there and they just like kind of let them leave them out there to die. And so
mm,
they did that with the original PlayStation Vita. I think I'm sorry, the PSP. They did that with the
Hmm.
PSP, and then with the PlayStation Vita, it came out and it just wasn't marketed very well. Yes, there was a little bit of commercials, but it was already more expensive. You had to buy the proprietary memory card, and then it wasn't compatible with the PSP, which was even worse
yeah,
because
yeah,
Yeah.
you think it would be. So you buy this device, you buy the memory, you know, you spend about $500, $600. The controls weren't great. Those joysticks, the analog sticks
Yeah. The analog
yeah.
sticks would have been better, and they could have.
were, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
no,
and they could have,
The
and they could have made them click down too. You know, I don't know why they
yeah,
were. It's
they had a
weird.
touchpad on the back, and
Yeah, I didn't like that.
yeah,
yeah, and you know, and the biggest selling point would have been having Sony first party games on that system, but they really did not focus on bringing a ton of first party games to that system. The only one I could think of is Uncharted offhand, and I think there might Killzone. There might have been a Killzone game on there,
yeah,
um, but there wasn't a lot.
Wipeout, I believe.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was a
yeah. I mean,
wipeout.
there's a wipeout on everything, but
Mm,
yeah, there wasn't a ton of great marketing. There was definitely problems with the system. The price
yeah,
point wasn't there. It's still expensive to this day. Like if you go on
yeah,
Amazon, it's like
yeah,
still
yeah,
$350.
yeah.
So it hasn't gone
It's
down
not
in
cheap.
price.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
best time to get it was like right before the pandemic. I think you could get it for like 150 new, like shipped from Japan
Mhm.
off of eBay or something. But yeah, but then the pandemic came and then everything, inflation, all that good stuff. So I mean, definitely. But I mean, Razer and Verizon, best of luck to you. But right now, this kind of reminds me of like the early '80s when you had like a bunch of different consoles coming out, and you know what happened there. The video game crash in 1983. Well, I think this is a bit of a different situation, but right
yeah,
now we're just seeing the market being over fluctuated by just a lot of handhelds, whether they do cloud gaming or just real hardware, retro. Yeah, even retro there's quite a bit too. So I mean, if you guys are gonna buy some, we should do a show on which one we think is best to buy. Just so you're not getting ripped off. Just do your research. That's the best thing I could really tell you. But I wish Razer, Verizon, and Qualcomm the best of luck. All right, moving on. Splatoon 3 has some updates. Just gonna go through this real quick. Let's see. It's the 2.3.0. Pretty much it adds Splatoon 3 widgets and some patch notes for the most part. So a new update has just been released for the Nintendo Switch Online mobile app, bringing it to the 2.3.0. This update mostly focuses on Splatnet 3 functionality specifically. It allows the use of widgets for the app, letting you display the battle log, stage schedule, current gear, loadout, and/or album directly onto your home screen. Let's see. If you want, you can go to the Nintendo Switch Online app to check out the full patch notes for more information. All right. Any questions there, fellas?
Nope.
Nope. All right. And then last but not least, E3 2023. Aren't you excited, Finest? I know you
Mhm.
are. E3, E3. Looks like they have announced some news for E3 2023. And, definitely it's a big, lengthy list. But for the most part, in terms of the days, the physical event, yes, not digital event, physical event will take place from Tuesday, June 23rd, June 13th, the Friday, June 16th at the Los Angeles Convention Center. It is a business and consumer show. The first 2 days are only for the business, The third day is a business and consumer day, while the fourth day is purely just for the consumers.
They must
Uh,
listen to the show.
yeah, they must
Didn't,
listen
didn't,
to us.
didn't I say that the other week? I was like, this is exactly what they should do.
Yeah.
So I'm already excited for them.
I know you're excited.
Chess
Uh,
Master Finest strikes again.
all right. All right. The team had set themselves quite a few lofty goals with E3, as you may remember, but the three core objectives are make a better business event where it's easier to connect, meet, and conduct interviews, make a better consumer experience where there are things for fans to actually do, and partner, support, and be friends with everyone announcing games in and around E3, irrespective of whether they're actually in the convention center. So that's the main things that they're going to try to do. I know there's a lot of other things in this article, but I think I pulled out the main clip notes out of this. So, um, yeah, so I mean, 4 days. I mean, two for the businesses, one for business and consumer, and then the last day is just strictly consumer. I think this is a winning formula. Finance, I know you want to speak some more, so let's hear what you got to say, man.
No, it's just the most important part. All that sounds great. Sounds
Yeah.
like it was an easy prediction. Like when we talked about it the other week, it was like based since PAX, it's like since the company that does PAX is taking this over, and this is how they run PAX. Also, how Tokyo Game Show does it. This was an easy move that should have been done from the very beginning because it just makes sense. But I think the most important question is who's going to be there. Like
Yeah.
who's going to show up? Like you know I don't know. The booths and the spaces cost so much money to have on that show floor. Does it make sense for a company to shell out? Because we saw Microsoft pull out pre-pandemic. We saw Sony pull out pre-pandemic. And Nintendo and third party studios are there, but
They
who's
do
gonna?
their own thing,
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean, but
Nintendo
now
Direct and all that stuff.
yeah, now everyone has directs.
Yeah.
So and everyone's had like a different level of success doing that. So does it make sense for everyone to do an in-person event again? I think in for the media, I think it makes sense because that whole networking and talking and schmoozing and so forth, that's like that built relationships, and so it makes sense for them. But in regards to consumers, like I don't know if it makes sense right there. And like I don't know. There's definitely pros and cons, but I think that's going to be the most important question right now because
Yeah.
I don't think Sony's going.
Yeah.
So that's one only
I
one.
think it's gonna be very hard to get Sony back into it. I know they could probably get Microsoft back. I mean, maybe they could do some collaboration with Summer Game Fest because I mean that was pretty much going to be taking over for the whole like E3 while they were gone. I mean, let's be real. Earlier this year, we thought they weren't coming back. So
Mhm.
the fact that PAX, the company that runs PAX, is taking over,
But does
it,
Keeley want to partner with him? Like that's the real question. I mean, he has his own event. He's been doing it for 2 years now. Last year was okay. This year was better, and I'm sure he wants to make it even better this year. And everyone's kind of a good portion of the gaming industry has already gone to him. Do they really want to go to E3 or do they want to go to him? How do they want to break that up if they do it all?
yeah. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, who can E3 really get? I mean, I think Nintendo is there. I mean, they'll do their direct, but I think they'll be there. They'll
Yeah.
probably do a treehouse or something. So I think it's safe to say they'll be there. They may even be a sponsor. Whoever goes will probably get a Nintendo Switch lanyard or something like we did that one year we went. Um, I mean, aside from that, I mean, it'd be nice to see Sony. Microsoft, I think, can come back. I mean, maybe in all of its entities, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, we could probably see them there. In terms of bigger companies, Capcom, I mean, it'd be nice to see them. Ubisoft, it'd be nice to see them. I mean, it's going to be a tough go. I mean, it sounds like they're going to be going head to head, So I mean, it's it's looking kind of yeah. June was looking pretty packed next year.
The the only way I see them surviving and
Mm,
continuing to thrive is they basically have to give them the spaces for free. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
you have to allow the developers and everyone to come there and basically just do their thing, like pay, like they already have to bring their stuff, they have to already have to book the flights and pay for all that other stuff. That's
Hotels,
already
all that
expense,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
hotels, all that's already expensive enough. If they give them the spaces for free and rely on providing consumers what they just a enough of an experience that consumers can pay a premium for, and really utilize the consumers in terms of offsetting the prices for giving the developers the free space, then I can see this being a thing. I can see in this,
Mm.
I could really see this work. If they're going to charge $10,000 for a space, no, I don't see it happening. If they charge, if they're going to charge $50,000 to use their amphitheater, it's not going to
No,
work.
no, hell
It's
no.
just not going to work. People aren't going to come back. So curious to see what happens.
This could be your first trade show, Max. And have you ever been to LA before? You could come.
I have been to LA, but
Oh,
yeah, I've only ever been. Every E3 has been an online experience for me, unfortunately. So that would be wonderful. I'd absolutely love to come. But yeah, like just as you guys were saying, like everyone seems so comfortable splintered off in their own Nintendo Directs, their state of plays, um, their own like company centric experiences. And if that's working for them, like you said, like unless they're providing like free spaces, free parking, and things like that, I don't it's going to be tough to see if we're going to get like a really cohesive gaming uh, world at E3. So it is definitely going to be interesting to see what happens.
yeah.
What's up,
I was on
J-Man?
mute. Yeah, I was also on mute again. Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I mean, who knows? We can get the whole Game and Watch crew down there, and we can all. It could be our first live event together at E3. Game and Watch podcast from E3, or maybe we can go to Game On. I don't know, or the SoCal Gaming Expo. But it'd be nice. It never hurts to dream. But I mean, I'm glad that it's coming back. Hopefully, I wish it well. I mean, I'm gonna be looking at the prices of this. Hopefully it's not too expensive, and I think the day to stay away from would be that Thursday when both consumers and business are there. At
Yeah.
least, at least for the business people, because when we were there, finance, those business people were pretty mad that they're
Yep.
just letting everyone in and
Yeah, there was
like,
just straight talking shit about us in front of us. Like he was
yeah, they
like,
were pretty pissed off.
yeah, it was pretty bad. I was like, wow. It's
Wow, I
like,
shouldn't have come here. Well,
yeah, it's like they didn't even know who they were talking to. They were just They would be talking to a consumer about consumers. It's like, oh man, all these consumers here would, these people just taking over the show. I have to wait in line so long, and blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, I'm a consumer. Like I'm here just to experience this for a first time. But yeah,
yeah, I mean, it was a blast. I mean, I'm glad I went to E3 for the first time. Just it was definitely excellent. It was definitely better than what we did the year before that. E3 live. What a joke, man. But yeah, I think we've told you all that story where we're like
yeah,
at the
we have.
LA live.
Yep.
It's a funny story, but yeah, I'm glad they opened it up to the public that next year. So I mean, definitely let's try to see what E3. Hopefully, they have a little bit of the magic left. So E3, you're going in the right direction now. You got the dates out there. Now let's look at the prices to go to the event, and then we'll arrange on the Game and Watch podcast, make an appearance there. You never know. All right, moving on to our main topic, and it is Google Stadia is shutting down. So, I mean, are we really surprised about this? I mean, let's be real. I mean, I've been critical about this thing from the beginning. So, for the most part, it's shutting down. It's going to be shutting down on January 18th, 2023. I guess the good news is if you did invest in this, Google will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchased through the Google Store, as well as the games and add-on content purchased from the Stadia Store. Google expects those refunds will be completed by mid-January. Word from the vice president, Phil Harrison. He said a few years ago, we also launched a consumer gaming service, Stadia, and while Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on strong technology foundation, it hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected. So we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down our Stadia streaming service. Employees on the Stadia team will be distributed to other parts of the company. So at least they won't be losing their jobs. That's a good thing. Just I think the writing was on the wall with this thing for a while. I mean, I'm not really surprised at all that this is coming to an end. Like we said before, when this thing launched, we did a show, years ago that just I just didn't like the way it was presented. They were making it sound like it was the game, like Netflix of yeah, the Netflix of gaming pretty much. But having to pay $60 for a game that you're not even downloading,
Mm,
streaming from the cloud. I mean that's just kind of a red flag, But I mean, I'm
yeah.
glad Google is going to be giving consumers their money back. But I mean, it kind of sucks for them because it's like if you have Destiny, it's like this was the main way you played Destiny. I hope it wasn't, but if this was the main way you played Destiny, it's like, oh, now I gotta play it somewhere else. That kind of sucks. And I don't have a Xbox Series X or a PS5 or a PS4 or Xbox One to play Destiny on, or Destiny 2 rather. I'm just using that as an example, but I
Yeah.
mean, for the most part, this doesn't surprise me. With Google, they've had a history of putting things to bed before. I mean, I was hoping when they got into the gaming industry, they would have made a big impact, and unfortunately, they didn't. So, I mean, but you've heard enough of what I think. Max, what do you think?
Well, yeah, like I remember when this came out as well, and it definitely felt like, you know, it's like imagine if Blockbuster charged you $60 for like, a VHS rental. It's like great, like this isn't really an amazing incentive for me to try this out, but it definitely seemed like they were very confident that this was going to be like a massive contender for PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox. And I don't know, it just wasn't. And I felt like that. I remember that rubbing me the wrong way for sure when it came out. It just this, I don't know, arrogance, this blind confidence now. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just even you know what I even when I was like reading about like the Razer and the Horizon handhelds as well, like it almost feels like they should take this as like a cautionary tale as well, like as like you could have like a future of slow decay where you're continuing to stick your head above water in the sea of relevancy, but it's just not happening. It's nice to know that people are getting refunds for everything that they're getting, and um, you know, it's nice that the hardware, which is actually amazing, I think from what I hear, is getting repurposed into like it's not just getting dumped. It's getting recycled. It's going to make like some of their other avenues a lot better. But um, yeah, people with like Ubisoft games that play online, people with like Destiny 2, like where do they go from here? Is there going to be some account transfer? Is there going to be, because that's that's like a almost like that's like a chunk of your life gone at that point that you're not getting back. Like especially for games like that where the
Oh yeah,
investment, yeah, like you guys are Destiny 2 players, like I mean, this probably like really stinks to really think about.
um,
Like
former Destiny 2 player, fine and
former,
slow.
yeah, but yeah, no, it's I wasn't I was actually surprised by like how I felt about this. I felt kind of sad. It was a little sad um, for the players that actually utilized this and took advantage because they're the ones that are really the ones that are getting hit by this the hardest. So my heart goes out, I guess. But oh,
F man, what you got?
Man, I got so much to say about this. It's not even funny.
I know you do. That's why
Uh,
I left the best for
um,
last.
man. So I mean, was this doomed to fail? No. Because Google had all the money in the world to do right. They had all the resources, all the internet bandwidth, everything, servers that they needed in order to make this survive. Um, Missteps in the initial definitely
Yeah.
started the cascading effect.
Hmm.
I mean, when Stadia launched, there was only one game. There's only one exclusive game available that was new. Every other game was a rehash or a game that already came out that was already available on console.
Yeah.
Um, and I know you just compared it to Blockbuster, but everyone thought this was going to be like a Netflix service. So
Yeah.
the
That's
communication
what I thought.
wasn't, yeah, the communication wasn't there when this thing initially launched. It wasn't clear to people what this was. So through that confusion, it led to a lot of people not moving forward with the purchase because they didn't understand what they were getting for what they were paying for. And to pay for a Netflix type service, you paid, yeah, I don't know the exact, I don't remember what the exact price was at launch, but we'll say $15, and then you get into the service, and just imagine if Netflix had you charged you for every movie
Mm.
that was in the service, which was what
Pretty much what
Google Stadia was
Google
doing.
Stadia was doing. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So you paid for the service. You had to buy a controller, and then you jumped into the service, and then only there could did you had to pay for old games, full price.
Yeah. Full
And
price. Yeah. Not they weren't even giving like the what you would be
Wow.
able to get on it for
yeah,
like the PS4 or the Xbox One at the
Yeah.
time. So it's
They're
like
charging you Stadia tax.
pretty
yeah,
much.
exactly. And then on top of that, like there was promises like every game was going to be like 4K, 60 frames per second. It wasn't at launch. And it got there, but it was only, it depended on the screen that you were playing on, because one of the promises, you can play this everywhere. So if, of course, if the screen didn't allow for those higher frame rates and capacity, and didn't have the right processors, then you couldn't utilize that. In addition to the controller, that you originally, I don't know if you guys remember this, but you had to have a Google Stadia controller.
Yeah. You
You
had.
can
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There
You
was
couldn't use any third party.
you couldn't use any third party controller. So there was that, and then the way it launched. So
Yeah.
they did a staggered launch, and then they broke it down into different tiers, and there was like, I believe there was three different tiers. And once again, the communication wasn't there, so people weren't sure what they were getting. So just a ton of missteps in the initial, but more importantly, Google never gave us a reason
Mm.
to play. Like they never
Wow.
gave us a reason to jump into Stadia. Um, they why didn't they buy up some studios? Like why did we not see them buy any studios? Why did we not see any not third party exclusives, but well, yeah, like third. Why didn't we see any third party exclusives? We recently saw earlier this week from Kojima. Kojima offered to do the Death Stranding sequel exclusively on Stadia, and they turned him down.
What
Like,
were they thinking?
like you
What were
It
have
they
just,
nothing.
thinking?
yeah.
You have nothing.
You
It
Like,
should have
just feels like
taken
they
that.
didn't.
You should
They
have
don't
taken that
care.
deal. Like like
Yeah.
like yes, like video game is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's only grown over time, but in order to enter that industry, you have to spend billions
Yeah.
to be where Sony and be where Nintendo and be where Microsoft and be where Valve and be all where all these other people are at. You have to have your gamer, you have to have your gamer first, and then
mm.
you have to think about your gamer first, and then you can kind of tie in everything else. um that's the start of my rant. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys, is there anything when you guys want to elaborate on there
Well,
before?
I mean, one thing I will say about the controller was sweet. And do they have to
It was
give
a
the
nice
controller
controller.
back? Do they have to give the controller back too, or can they keep it and can you use it for like other like third party stuff like on the Nintendo
Mod
Switch
it.
or something? Or
You can
uh,
keep it. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just wondering.
I don't know
Probably
if it's
could use it on
open
PC.
source. Yeah, I mean, if it's like a Bluetooth controller, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, they put Google Stadia controller settings and Steam and
Mm.
Valve and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to give back the controller.
Okay. Well,
Um,
yeah, that is a pretty sweet controller. It does look pretty
yeah.
nice, you know. But otherwise, yeah, nothing at the moment. You can continue your rant.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
have one thing to say
Yeah.
regarding the whole. I guess like the best way to sum up like how Google Stadia was um, marketed and implemented and everything was the 17 seconds of its like release, which was like a clip on this article was the. I believe it was like one of the head creators of I can't remember his name at the moment. But it's the first 17 seconds. He walks up on stage and he's just like, now listen, guys, I must admit I'm not the biggest video game player.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good way to start. Yeah, you can't start a speech like that. Not
Nope.
just in video games, but just anywhere. It's
So
like,
cut me some slack, okay?
yeah, yeah, you can, like it's like me in like a public speaking class about to do an open forum speech or something. Like, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, but yeah, yeah, the sky is blue. Yeah, yeah, you can't go in there like that, man. That's just terrible. Like,
Please, sir, can I have an A plus?
yeah, yeah, don't, yeah, that's a bad way to start off a presentation,
Yeah.
Anyway,
uh,
continue, Finest.
Oh
yeah,
no, I just agree with you guys. But yeah, I mean, I think the last couple of notes in terms of broken promises was features that just never came. Like you were supposed to be able to like be watching someone play a game and then be
yeah,
like, oh, that looks awesome. Like I want to play, and then you continue exactly where the streamer like left off. If you were watching a stream, like they said you were going to be able to like pick up and play where like the streamer like was at in their game.
Yeah.
Never saw that. They also said that there was supposed to be split screen, which never came to fruition either. There was supposed to be a buddy pass system where you can hand, if you bought Stadia, you can hand 3 months over to your friend.
yeah,
Um,
that
ne-
never came.
all these things never came to fruition. Now we're in a state where Stadia is no longer a thing. It's disappearing. It's been canceled and everything. But in terms of the people that did have Stadia, there was a couple tens of thousands of people out there, and for Google not to tell its partners, to
Yeah,
not to tell Bungie, to not to
mm,
tell Ubisoft, not to
Whoa.
tell any of the indie developers that currently were getting ready to release games, that they were shutting down their services, to not give any heads up whatsoever, is the worst part about this. And this is why a lot of people didn't buy into it in the first place, because people did not trust Google. And for the people that did, they are now getting burnt. Like
yeah,
like Ubisoft and Ubisoft is having to figure out like where its players are going to go. Bungie is in a similar situation, trying to figure out how they're going to take those saves that were on Stadia and get them, allow those people to play on PC or allow them to play on console and so forth. Like it, because Stadia had them sign contracts that they were, anything that they played on Stadia, it was not going to be cross platform, was not going to be
yeah, that's bullshit.
no
So yeah,
cross saves and
they should have made a cross-platform. Now it's, yeah,
right.
Bungie especially. Oh man,
Yeah,
good.
so all those people are shut out of luck. That's 5,000 people in Destiny that were playing last week
Yeah,
on Stadia, and now those people don't have any capability, or they're going to lose their character. They're going to lose everything unless Bungie does something. So really, Google has left the onus on the developers to figure out everything, regardless of the developers investing so much money and so much time into Stadia to help to ensure that like it works. So the developers did their part, but Google did not do anything for the developers, and it's so sad to see. and it's sad for the gamers, it's sad for the developers, and honestly, like
I mean,
fuck Google. Like
Yeah,
it's just
seriously.
like
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
They're that like guy in the group project that does shit and like doesn't show up until like the day of the presentation. Almost.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I mean, I was very skeptical in the beginning, but I mean, it's just like you were saying, Vines. It's just sad to see people's hard work just going to the toilet after
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. It just always sucks.
Because
And
they don't care.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks for the people, the developers really, and the people behind it. But it was already kind of a red flag when people were leaving Stadia like to go elsewhere. It's just that was kind of, I'm not saying the writing was on the wall then, but it's just not a good sign if people were leaving for unspecified reasons. So
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like Ubisoft and Bungie are going to have nightmares with this transition, but hopefully they can figure something out. I mean, and that's probably one reason why Google's giving back money. To just because it just sucks. Like I'd be pissed off, especially
Yeah.
like a game like Destiny 2 where it's already a grind, and oh boy, like if you better hope that whatever
yeah.
plat that they let you go to a platform, an Xbox or PlayStation, whatever the case, PC. Yeah, that's gonna be
3 years of play gone.
yeah.
Stadia's been out for 3 years. So if you started on day one, like 3 years of grinding, I mean, I remember my time in Destiny. And by year two, I was over 500 hours. So like if you're 3 years in, like I mean you're probably approaching that, like you're nearing almost 1,000 hours in Destiny. If you're anything like me and all the other people that were playing. But yeah.
All right. Anything else on Google Stadia closing, shutting shop? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
do have a couple questions. Oh yeah, go ahead, Max.
Yeah. Stop using Google as a search engine from this moment on. Use Bing.
Yeah, no. All right. But with Google Stadia shutting down, what's this mean for the future of cloud gaming? I mean, you think it's
Razor
here to
Horizon.
stay, or I
Oh
mean,
yeah, it's sticking around. I mean,
stick around?
Yeah.
you look at like we talked about earlier. There's like 20 handheld
Yeah.
cloud devices that are coming out. Cloud gaming, is bigger than any. It's bigger. 60% of all console sales is on the cloud now. It's all digital.
So
So
in
it's not
other
going
words, it's not going away. It's not going anywhere. Just
yeah.
maybe just got to get someone else behind it besides Google, and with Xbox, doing what was it? Their online XCloud or whatever. Yeah, I don't think that help matters either. I don't think it could put the nail in the coffin, but at the same time, it's just like, why do this when hey, I have an Xbox, I can play cloud on my cell phone through XCloud. Yeah, just no. I totally get it. All right, and then otherwise, anything else you guys want to speak on? Let's see, on Google Stadia. Are you guys good?
Nope. I
FNAF?
said my piece.
Yeah. I'm good.
All right, all right. So we are going to get into the release rundown, which is not as long as last week. Hallelujah! I put together these captions today, and yes, it was quick. Last week was like 20 games last week, but this is only the tip of the iceberg for October. October is going to be a pretty crowded month, but let's get into it. We got Dakar Desert Rally coming to the PS5, PS4, pretty much all consoles and PC. It looks pretty like a pretty fun racing game for the most part. Coming out October 4th. Also October 4th, we have Overwatch 2, the big one. All consoles and PC on that one. Deathverse Let It Die. It's coming to PC October 5th. And yeah, we talked about that one last week. And then also Nier Automata. It's coming to Switch October the 6th. And then No Man's Sky coming to Switch October 7th. And then a game I added that we missed back in June. It's an old game. Well, it's a remake of or remastered remake, whatever you want to call it. Pocky and Rocky Reshrine, which is for the PS4 and Switch. It actually is pretty interesting. It was very hard back in the day, at least on the Super Nintendo. So yeah, not too much coming out, and one game already available. See, I told you it'd be pretty quick, unlike last week where it was like a bunch of games, and yeah, it just seemed like the list never ended. So this was quick, thank God. Uh, any games on this list that you guys are interested in? Finance, will start with you.
Um, I mean, there's great games here. Nothing that I would play right now. I think Overwatch 2 is like the only Overwatch 2 and Dakar Desert Rally are the only like new games that are releasing. Death First released last week on all consoles. Now it's releasing on PC this week. Near Automata is already released on the PlayStation years ago. They did an initial version and then they did another version. There was like version like 1.2579 blah 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 blah, and then they did another version after that. And then No Man's Sky has been out for years also, and we've seen that on everything. So Pocky and Rocky Reshined, I have no idea what that is, but if you say it's good, I'm sure that might be one to check out.
Yeah, yeah, Pocky and Rocky. It was an old Super Nintendo game, and it was hard, but I mean, definitely check out some gameplay on it. It pretty good. I mean, I'm thinking about getting it myself. It's from Natsumi. They redid Wild Guns Reloaded, and Ninja Warriors game. They remade that one too. So I mean, it seems like they've been mastering, remaking a lot of their old properties. So I mean, I saw it, and I was like, oh yeah, we missed this one back in June, and June was pretty crowded. I mean, we're the Game and Watch podcast. We try to get to all games, but we just can't get to everything. So that's why if I do see a game that's been out for a while, and I was like, oh, we didn't talk about this. So I was like, hey, I'll just throw it on the release up and say, hey, it's out now. Go get it. Max, any of these games out there looking good to you?
Death First Let It Die definitely
Mm.
catches my eye. Um, just from kind of based on my experience with like the first game. Let It Die was an amazing romp in like a weird. Uh, God, how do I even describe it? Like if Dark Souls was a game show. um, but yeah, definitely that one. And then No Man's Sky for the Switch. I have kind of slept on No Man's Sky completely,
Yeah.
so it might be a
Um,
really
if
good
I do
introduction.
if I do play No Man's Sky, it'd probably be on other consoles. But I mean, if you are just one console person and you have a Switch, give it a go. I mean, it's they've made improvements on it uh, over the
Yeah,
years, so definitely. I mean, if you are getting it on a Switch, I don't think you'll be disappointed unless it's
the
like
Switch.
broken or something.
Well, I mean, I don't think it should be broken. I mean, they delayed the Switch one like
Hmm.
they delayed this version probably like 2 years. Like it
Yeah,
was supposed to come out a long time ago, and they just kept on delaying it. There's and
it's probably ready
uh,
to go. So I
yeah,
mean,
they just been like the Hello Games has just been like be patient. We're working on it. It's taking more time than we thought. No Man's Sky is a while it's procedurally generated, it's still a huge game.
yeah,
So
it is.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it will work pretty well on the Switch. I mean, if they can make a Witcher 3 work on the Switch, I think if you dummy it down enough,
did Witcher 3 work on the Switch?
eh,
Did it? Work is a very loose term when you say that.
manageable. It got
Okay,
through.
uh,
I don't know.
no comment here.
Mm. I mean, I don't have it on the Switch. I mean, if I do play The Witcher 3, wouldn't be on the Switch. I mean, I mean, for me, definitely Dakar Rally. That racing game looks fun. I'm not much of a big Overwatch 2 fan. Like I said, No Man's Sky. I mean, definitely give it a try if the Switch is your only console. And then Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. I think I will play that at some point. I mean, it does look good. So, I mean, in my opinion, I'll definitely give it a try. Maybe we'll play it on stream or something. All right. So with that done, let's get to our favorite part of the show: chat room comments. Who wants to go first? Max, you want to go first? Chat room.
Yeah, I'll take a look. Um, okay, so Autumn Jai says cloud gaming is still going to be a thing. PlayStation and Xbox are both moving towards a strictly cloud digital platform, and with the shortage on manufacturing materials, cloud makes sense in the long run. That is
All
foreboding.
right. Yeah, great comment there. Right, yeah, pretty much autumn, dry, and Matt Bliss. Matt, you need to come back on the show, man, if you're still watching. But yeah, pretty much commented in today. Finance, what you got?
Mine. Oh, Autumn, he dominated the chat today. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna give mine to Matt. That helped me with the word I was thinking of for the all the different specs in the Steam Deck. Gyroscope. Gyroscope was the word. Yeah.
gyroscope. All right, I know there was quite a bit. I think I'm gonna
Said the
do two.
magic word.
I think since I'm hosting the show, I think I'll do two by autumn. Let's see, it was a close third, but I mean, I'm just gonna do two. Let's see. She says that we should definitely use the podcast to get press credentials to go to E3. We definitely should. We should definitely try it. Get the whole crew to come along. I mean, it could become a reality. And then I gotta go back to that trivia. It looks like the artists she named were actually in the game. LL Cool J, Queen Latifah, Onyx, Rap Jam. I don't know if she played it back in the day. I don't know if she Googled it, but
We'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She just knew.
yeah, yeah.
That's why she has to get on the podcast too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
definitely, yeah. All right, and with that being said, we are going to put this episode in the books, episode 106 of the Game and Watch podcast. Be sure to check out another episode of the Game and Watch podcast next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We are out. Thank you very much. Bye now.